covering all your local high school football games with highlights and scores. Now, Football Friday, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union.
And welcome into another edition of Football Friday. I'm Gary Harris. This is week 8 of the high school football season, but week 9 of Football Friday presented by Alabama Credit Union. Alabama Credit Union, loans for real life. Remember that the first week of the show was week 0, and Football Friday is 1 hour again this year, and we have highlights from, I think, 14 or 15 games. Sometimes it gets a little convoluted back there, but I think 15 games we're working on for you tonight, plus our complete Football Friday high school scoreboard, our Football Friday Band of the Week, our premier service company, Outside the Huddle feature, Recruiting Tales with Andrew Bone, Around the SEC, Conyers Corner, and more. And we begin with our Game of the Week.
Now, the Football Friday Game of the Week.
Class 3A Region 3, Greensboro looking to go to the playoffs. They're rebuilding there, and they hosted Thorsby after a couple 3-and-outs to start the game. The Rebels in the red zone. And Grayson McManus calls his own number and punches it across for Thorsby in the first touchdown of the game. Now on the 2-point conversion, McManus finds Brook Barnett, and the Rebels go up 8-0 at the end of the first quarter. Greensboro responds a couple of drives later. Jarius Moore is going to keep it and power his way into the end zone. Raiders went for 2 and didn't make it. It's 8-6. Raiders' next drive. Caleb Smith drops back. Strip sack, and that is a touchdown for Thorsby. Thorsby goes up 14-6, and then McManus finds Barnett again for the 2-point conversion to make it 16-6. Thorsby led 24-12 at halftime, and they're going to get that playoff spot as they go ahead and win the ball game tonight as we check out the final, 51-20. Still, Greensboro has come a long way in the last few years. We'll have more on them in our Game of the Week analysis coming up a little bit later on in the show. 3A Region 5, powerful Gordo hosting Phil Campbell on senior night for the Green Wave. And you know that's always special there in the football crazed community of the green and gold. Here goes Gordo on its first drive. Quarterback Jace Neal hands it off to James Davis II, and that is recommended. He is taking it in for a touchdown. The Green Wave defense does its part as well. They stopped Phil Campbell on 4th down, and that led to Neal finding Colin Pate, and that's another touchdown. Gordo, 2 plays, 2 touchdowns, and then on their 3rd play of the game, it's 3 for 3 as Neal launches it deep to that guy right there, the splendid number 2, C.J. Lark. Well, reminds me of another number 2 at Alabama named Ryan Williams. Green Wave onslaught would continue in the second quarter. Neal finds Rainer Russell, and Russell crosses the goal line. Phil Campbell, give him credit. The Bobcats didn't quit in this one. Late in the second quarter, Haston Scott hands it off to Hayden Wingo, but way too little too late. Gordo rolls tonight. 48-12. Is the final score. 3A Region 3, Hale County looking for a playoff berth, hosting winless Sumter Central. Courtney Jackson was crowned homecoming queen before the game tonight. Hale County took control early. Defensive back Tristan Perry picks off the first pass of the game and returns it deep into Jaguars territory. Sumter Central came into this game winless on the season, and the Wildcats would take advantage. Kavion Ryan from Dylan Carlisle, 24-yard touchdown on the little swing pass. Hale County goes up by 6. Next drive for the Wildcats, Alshon Edwards gets the handoff. He is going to cut it back and score from 17 yards out as Hale County goes up by 2 scores. Wildcats rode that momentum to a 19-point lead, but a nice kick return right here by Tadron Crenshaw. That quieted the crowd for a moment as he takes it the distance for the touchdown. But the Wildcats, when they got back on offense, they did it again. They just rolled and rolled and rolled tonight, 40-6 at half. And as we check out the final, Hale County wins this one 46-6. Wildcats, big region win tonight as they are looking to move on to the playoffs. In Class 6A Region 4, Northridge hosting Bessemer City. And after a scoreless first quarter, Northridge puts the first points on the board. Caleb Schofield, who's an excellent kicker, has been all year, nails that 20-yarder to make it 3-0. Later in the second quarter, Northridge is driving. Quarterback Rowdy Christensen would find Colin Kaplivic, or I know better than that, it's Kapilovic. It's offensive line coach at Alabama's son. Colin Kapilovic in the end zone to make it 10-0, and Bessemer City looking to come back, but Tristan Berry's pass was picked off by Miller Arundel, and Northridge went into the half leading 10-0, and they would go on to get the win tonight. Big win for the Jags, 17-7 over Bessemer City here tonight in Tuscaloosa. Speaking of Tuscaloosa, Paul Bryant High School at McAdory and another Class 6A Region 4 senior night for the Yellow Jackets, and they would celebrate. Although right here, Bryant High quarterback Javion Johnson scrambles but is stripped of the football by Kylan Rice, and McAdory is on it, and they take advantage. Justin Patton looking for Micah Matthews, and Matthews is just wide open in the middle of the field, cuts it back into the end zone, 19-yard touchdown. Yellow Jackets off and running in this one. Bryant, though, they always fight under Kristen Jones, their head coach. They never give up. Brandon Johnson gets loose here, but when you're having a tough season, these kind of things happen. Holding penalty brought it back. McAdory in the second quarter, Michael Barnes, direct snap, runs it in to make it 22-0, and Kawan Johnson is going to score right before the half from a yard out. This is going to make it 29-0 at halftime, and it's all McAdory tonight on senior night over Paul Bryant Stampede. Final score, 52-0. 2A Region 5, Aliceville at Lamar County. And this was a big game up in Vernon, and Aliceville on the road would have their way as they struck early and often in this one. You see a touchdown right there, and the Yellow Jackets not going to let up against Lamar County, also known, of course, as Vernon. They're in Vernon, Alabama. The run game was strong, although right there, Lamar County gets a big stop, but not nearly enough. And this is going to be a Yellow Jacket win tonight. Let's see if we get one more highlight here. And yeah, great job by the QB right there, buying time and finding his man for a touchdown. And this one is all Aliceville tonight as they take it on the road, 35-0 up in Vernon over Lamar County. Big, big win for the Yellow Jackets. All right, we're off and running on Football Friday, but oh, still so much more to do here on the big show. Up next, state 7A powerhouses Thompson and Hoover renewing their rivalry tonight in Alabaster for the Region 3 championship. Our Stu McCann was there, and we'll have all the exciting highlights coming up next on Football Friday.
Northside High cheerleaders, and you're watching Football Friday on WVUA 23.
Hey there, Northside cheerleaders. Thanks for welcoming us back into Football Friday on WVUA 23. I'm Gary Harris, and let's get back to the action. A huge game over in Birmingham tonight as Class 7A Region 3 rivals Thompson and Hoover hooked up in Alabaster for the Class 7A Region 3 championship. And this was quite the football game, man. These two have had some classics over the years, and this would be another one tonight. First drive for Hoover on offense, and they strike. Keelan Jefferson, 5-yard touchdown run. Bucks go up 7-0. Hoover leads 10-3 with 25 seconds left in the first half, and Thompson's Michael Dujon fights his way in for a 6-yard touchdown run. And just like that, we're tied at halftime, 10-10. That would be common in this one. Third quarter, Hoover faces 4th and 3, and Jonah Winston breaks it. 30-yard touchdown run. Bucks go up 17-10. Thompson answers in the third quarter. Trent Seaborn, their outstanding quarterback, is going to keep and punch it across from a yard out. It's 17-17. We go to overtime, tied at 20. Thompson gets the ball first. Seaborn rolls and finds Darian Mosley in the corner of the end zone, 26-20, but the point after was blocked by the Bucks right here. That's a huge play in the game. Second and goal for Hoover. Jonah Winston at Wildcat quarterback finds a lane and gets the touchdown. And that blocked extra point would haunt Thompson. Hoover shoots it through. Hoover wins the region championship 27-26 over Thompson. What a ball game tonight in overtime. Both these teams, though, of course, moving on to the 7A state playoffs. Parker at Homewood in Class 6A Region 5 action. And the Homewood Patriots, patriotic as always. Here comes the Thundering Herd, though. Dylan Reese to Naeem Alford. Alford is one of the top players in the country. He's going to show you why. I think he's committed to Ohio State right now. He can play offense, he can play defense. That's a 45-yard gain. Later on in the drive, Reese connects with Terrence Gaines, who puts on some gains, and Parker takes a 7-0 lead. Now 7-3, and the Pats 1 inch away, and Will Myers gets it across. Homewood takes a 10-7 lead over the Thundering Herd. In the second quarter, though, it's Reese to Kajan Lamb-Gregg, who goes up and hauls it in. 25-yard pass down to the 5. Then Gaines walks it into the end zone. And more running from the Thundering Herd. They are so strong on the ground. Alford makes a guy miss. Parker Alford here and gets it in to make it 21-10. Parker at the half. And as we check out the final, it's Parker getting the win tonight, 27-17 over Homewood. 2 unbeatens in Class 6A, Region 6. A 7-0 Oxford play host to 7-0 Clay-Chalkville. This is the My 68 game of the week, and what a game it was. 3-0 Cougs, a 1-yard touchdown makes it 10-0. Remember, they had already beaten Thompson this year. They're defending Class 6A champions, but Oxford responds. Caleb Wynn is going to punch it across to make it 10-7, and then right before halftime, Mason Mims, outstanding junior quarterback for the Yellow Jackets, is going to throw a strike to Nick Richardson, 35 yards. That made it 14-10 at half. And really, they're both 7-0, but I think most people would consider this a slight upset. As we check out the final, Oxford gets the win tonight over the Cougars of Clay-Chalkville, 21-10. Oxford wins the region championship and moves to 8-0 on the season. Clay-Chalkville falls to 7-1, of course, both moving on to the state playoffs. All right, Helena at Chelsea tonight. We had hoped to get some highlights from this game. We were not able to do so, so let's go ahead and check out the final score on that one, and it's Helena winning at Chelsea. Big win, 38-28, the final score. Corner traveling to face John Carroll. Homecoming night for John Carroll in a Class 5A matchup with playoff implications. All tied up at 14, and the Cavs' John Ford on the handoff. Turns on the Jets, man, and he goes out of bounds inside corner's 10-yard line. John Carroll cashes it in. Later, it is Ford again. That would make it 24-14, John Carroll. Second half corner hanging around. Spencer Unruh with the handoff, and he is going to muscle his way down to the 2-yard line. The Yellow Jackets get it in. Good ball game tonight. Let's go ahead and check out the final in this one from over in Birmingham. And it is Corner coming back to get the win on the road at John Carroll, 34-27. 8-man Christian Association football tonight. Tuscaloosa Christian hosting Victory Christian on senior night. And the Warriors were in the mood to celebrate. First drive of the game, quarterback Alex Anglin hits Alec Joyner for a touchdown. Tuscaloosa Christian leads 6-0 after the missed extra point. Watch on the kickoff. They squib it, and Victory Christian can't handle it, and TCS is going to get on it. And then Anglin to Joyner again. He's behind the defense. That's an easy touchdown. And more good play by Tuscaloosa Christian in all phases. They blocked the punt after a bad snap. And Elijah Frederick, the sophomore, scoops and scores. And the Warriors are rolling in this one 2 drives later. In the second quarter, it's Anglin to Joyner for a third time. The hat trick for these two. 3 touchdown catches for Joyner. Tuscaloosa Christian rolls tonight. Happy senior night. 40-16 is the final score. The Warriors take it home over there in Cottondale. All right, that's going to put a wrap on our Friday night highlights, but we still have more high school action to come. On Thursday night, the Hillcrest Patriots traveled south to face the Prattville Lions in Class 7A Region 3, and it was a great night to be a Patriot. We'll have the highlights for you when we return to Football Friday. And welcome back to Football Friday. I'm Gary Harris. Well, occasionally, of course, we have high school games on Thursday night, and we had a big one last night as the Prattville Lions played host to the Hillcrest Patriots down in Wetumpka at the Wetumpka Sports Complex, and the visiting Patriots jumped on top early. Their outstanding quarterback Bryson Kimbrough finds Caden Smith in the corner of the end zone. Pats went for 2 and made it, so they go up 8-0, and yeah, that's worthy of the cheerleaders running with the flags. Then Kimbrough tosses to Jacoby Harris, who is really elusive and powerful, too, for a little guy. He gets it into the end zone. It's now 15-0. But Prattville, proud program, they wouldn't go down without a fight. Watch Gavin Rigdon connect with Kelvin Blue, and then look at Blue do the rest. I mean, that is just outstanding athleticism. Gets blocked out by the bench there, but he got it into the end zone for 6. But this was going to be Hillcrest night. As we check out the final, Patriots go on the road and get it done in Prattville on a Thursday night. Good win, 53-28. Also on Thursday night, Huffman, the Vikings played host to Mountain Brook, and that Huffman band now, they are cranking it up. But it was the Spartans who cranked it up on the field. Stuart Andrews had himself a night. First touchdown for the Spartans. Then it's Stuart Andrews again, out of the Wildcat. And then he's going to share the love, though, as Lawson McKnight takes it in for a touchdown. And then the Spartan defense gets in the act. Huffman quarterback Justin Nelson designed run, but he is met by a host of Spartans. The ball is out, scooped up by Harris Crumpton. He gone 45 yards to the crib. It was all Spartans on Thursday night as we check out the final. Mountain Brook blanks Huffman 42-0. One more Thursday night game. The Ramsay Rams taking on the Carver Rams. Rivalry game. And we are going to get the opening kickoff to provide some action. Ramsay kicker Ethan Evans boots it downfield. Carver's Sienna McKee picks it up and says, see you later, because I got reservations for 6. 75-yard touchdown. 2-pointer was good. It's 8-0. Ramsay, though, would settle in. The defense gets the sack by Ryan Reese. He's going to let you know about it. And then Cam Keenan will make the Carver defense pay. Speed sweep as he hands it off to Ladarian Berry. And then they will punch it in to make it 8-7. And more run game for Ramsay, as this is Jaden Martin getting loose and finding pay dirt. Ramsay, in the Battle of the Rams, takes care of business last night. They win this one big. 41-8 is that final. Well, that's going to do it for high school highlights on this edition of Football Friday. But still to come, we're going to have more analysis of our game of the week and recruiting tales with Andrew Bone. But up next, all the other high school stores from around the area. The complete Football Friday scoreboard is coming up next, so you stay with us. The Hueytown High School Marching Band, they're our Band of the Week. And welcome back to Football Friday on WVUA 23. It's now time to check in on some other scores from across Alabama. So let's turn our attention to the Football Friday scoreboard and run them down for you. Let's go right through these. Vestavia tonight, no problems with Tuscaloosa County High School. The Wildcats are winless. It's been a tough year. I mean, there's no way around that. But you know what? Another coaching change. got to have some stability in that program. Hopefully, they're going to get it going forward, but they fall hard tonight. ACA will not go to the playoffs. That's always news. They lose at Oak Grove in a down year for the Patriots, too, under head coach Cody Martin. This season has not gone their way. 34-9, Oak Grove, the winner. It was Fairfield in a huge game with a big win over Bibb County. I know Fairfield is pretty good. I didn't expect them to beat Bibb, but they did tonight, 30-28. Hueytown, no problems with Brookwood, 40-0 the final score. It was Holt with a road win. What a year Holt is having. Man, they're putting together some wins. I'm really happy for the Ironmen. Coach Brian Newton's done a great job there. They win at Tarrant tonight, 28-0. And here's a shocker. I mean, it's not that Sullivan's not a good team, but TA was rolling. They were undefeated. They fall in double overtime tonight at Sullivan. You know, Sullivan's got a great football tradition. Remember Joe Cribbs, the great Auburn and NFL running back, played there. And they beat TA tonight in a wild one in double OT. Kind of a surprise for me, 46-44, the final. It was Choctaw County beating Holy Spirit tonight. Holy Spirit Catholic goes on the road and loses 32-11. Sipsey Valley with a big win on the road at Montevallo. Let's hear it for the Bears. 51-27, the final there. It was Berry tonight over Pickens County, 60-20. And Good Hope wins at Fayette County, 34-12, the final. Pickens Academy and R.C. Hatch scored 86 points. R.C. Hatch had 50 of them. They get the win, 50-36. Demopolis wins at Jemison. Got a huge game next week between Demopolis and Northside. Demopolis wins at Jemison, 46-27, the final. It was South Lamar winning over Bryant, 45-14. And Lynn beat Hubbardville tonight, 56-33. Wilcox Academy wins at Southern Academy, 57-40. Russell Christian tonight in 8-man football over North River Christian. That's over in Meridian, Mississippi, by the way. Russell Christian is 68-8. It was Hewitt-Trussville blanking Oak Mountain, 63-0. And Spain Park all over Calera. Spain Park remains unbeaten in Class 6A, 42-7, the final there. It was Pinson Valley losing at home to Pell City, 48-39. Hamilton, that's always a rivalry game there. Hamilton and Haleyville. Hamilton gets the win tonight, 46-43. It was Dora over Curry, 54-9, and Midfield down Carbon Hill, 54-7. Jasper falls at Hartselle, 34-21, and J.B. Pennington over Westbrook Christian, 33-30, the final score. And one final left out here, University Charter over Francis Marion by the final score of 34-6 down in Livingston tonight. Well, that's our complete Football Friday scoreboard, but we aren't done with high school football. When we return, I'm going to have a closer look at tonight's game of the week between Greensboro and Thorsby. And didn't go Greensboro's way tonight, but they're building something down there with the Raiders. We'll have a closer look at the game of the week coming up next on Football Friday.
We're the Sipsey Valley cheerleaders, and you're watching Friday Night Football on WVUA 23. Go Bears!
And welcome back to Football Friday, presented by Alabama Credit Union. I'm Gary Harris. Our high school analyst, Joe Gaither, on assignment tonight for Bama Central over at the Bama and Batwell basketball game against Wake Forest in Birmingham. So I'm going to do a little analysis by myself tonight. Our game of the week is between Greensboro and Thorsby in Class 3A. Greensboro looking for a playoff bid for the first time in 4 years. They've been down the last couple of years, but Coach Deion Washington is building something. Now, it didn't go their way tonight. Good crowd on hand, a lot of excitement, but Thorsby was the better team. And Thorsby got the win 51-20, as the better team usually does in these games. But I want to say something about Coach Washington. He loves Greensboro. He's got a passion for that program and that community, and he's building something, okay? They're much better this year than they were last year. Raiders came up short tonight, but glad we could get down there for our game of the week. Our Sam Holly did a great job getting the highlights, and this was a competitive game. Don't let the final score fool you. This was a competitive game for a while, but Thorsby gets the win. But I'm still high on Greensboro, still high on Coach Washington and the job he's doing down there at Greensboro with the Raiders. All right, that is going to be our high school game of the week analysis. And when we return, our award-winning Outside the Huddle feature, that's coming up next as Football Friday continues here on WVUA 23. You stay with us. I'm Gary Harris. Welcome back to WVUA 23's Football Friday, presented by Alabama Credit Union. And tonight's Outside the Huddle feature, presented by Premier Service Company, Stu McCann on how brain health is vitally important to a high school athlete's performance and how doing the right things off the court and off the field can help prevent concussions.
Proper nutrition is a universal quest. The energy bar market is estimated at more than $3 billion worldwide. For most of us, the decision comes down to taste and cost, not ingredients. But what if we had the tools to make an informed decision?
We're exposing them to maybe some foods that are not as, enticing as a bag of chips or a bag of M&Ms.
This isn't all about food. It's also sleep hygiene, hydration, equipment, all factors that contribute to brain health, which is believed to be our biggest resource toward concussion prevention.
Football is a contact sport, and concussions are going to happen, but so are ankle sprains, so are knee injuries. And yes, your brain is something we need to protect, and there's ways that we can prevent them.
This fall, Jessica Wallace and the University of Alabama's Matched Lab are working with 10 high schools around Birmingham and West Alabama, tackling familiar narratives like eat right and go to bed on time with an interactive spin.
I mean, the priority is relatable, right? Like making sure it's something they're interested in and want to learn about. And so that connecting it to performance, to recovery, that's a key piece of every lesson.
The biggest thing for me, like I'm a student, so it's like when she come, I'm sitting back myself like, okay, man, I'm really learning from this lady. Like not only, the nutrition portion, but just, hey, coach, you need to get your proper rest.
Not just what to put in your body, but what to put on your body. A football helmet is the one piece of equipment that players are never without. But it doesn't mean they know how to wear it right.
I think I know how to coach football, but Jessica is she covered the whole thing about, we could give a kid a helmet because it says size small on it. We still don't know if that's the proper fit. The helmet fitting, that could prevent a concussion, and I think it has been.
These programs are held every week, and all are tied to improving performance now and building better habits for improved brain health going forward. The most scrutinized aspect of that is concussion risk and awareness of what's at stake.
Rather than just sending a form home, having everybody sign it, as a team, we're sitting down and we're really doing a complete overhaul and debrief of what photophobia means, what happens if we are experiencing some amnesia or memory loss. And we completely break it down before they start any preseason football.
And for her to take out the time of her day to just spend that much time with us and teach us those things, it shows a lot of respect for us. So we have no way but just to give that respect back.
The secret weapon on the subject is an activity called concussion bingo.
Every kid gets a bingo card, and it's all randomized, the terms that are on the card. But what we do is I have a presentation. It's a PowerPoint presentation, but within that I have some videos embedded, I have some photos, and we have all of the terms that are associated with the signs and symptoms of concussions. It's a total gamification of concussion education, making it fun for teenagers to learn about concussions.
She's a coach on our staff, so that's part of what we're trying to teach. We're trying to teach more than just football, and we want to make sure we have a well-rounded citizen that they can be productive in life.
That Outside the Huddle originally ran last fall, but we think that message is certainly worth repeating tonight. Well, coming up, Conyers Corner, another installment of that great feature, and Alex Booth will take us behind enemy lines. That's straight ahead on WVUA 23's Football Friday.
Coach Bryant, I think his strength was taking ordinary players and made him extraordinary. Coach Stallings in athletic vernacular, he was what you call plain vanilla. He just said, we got 11, they got 11, let's line up jaw to jaw, cheek to cheek, and fight it out. And that was a sure influence by Coach Bryant, his being around Coach Bryant. And I think Coach Saban, he realized a long time that it's not X's and O's, it's Jimmy's and Joe's. And he's a great recruiter, and he recruits to a standard. And he's just a consummate football coach.
Well, the University of Alabama has been blessed with some all-time greats when it comes to head football coaches, and Eddie Conyers is an all-time great himself. Welcome back to Football Friday. I'm Gary Harris. Let's take a closer look now at Alabama and Tennessee as Alex Booth takes us behind enemy lines.
The third Saturday in October means one of the best rivalries in the sport, Alabama versus Tennessee. This year, the game will take place in Knoxville after both teams just escaped with narrow home wins.
Obviously, it's not the way that they wanted to win that Florida game, and I think they cut it a little too close for comfort. But I think in the back of their minds, they can definitely say that Tennessee needs to play better, both offensively and defensively, if they want to compete with Alabama this weekend.
Last time the Tide visited Knoxville, Tennessee hit a 40-yard field goal as time expired to defeat Alabama 52-49. This year, the Vols are led by freshman quarterback Nico Iamaleava, who WBIR sports reporter Emily Ray Cochran says is learning on the job.
When we get into SEC play, things have changed a little bit. You can tell he's kind of not doing the best with pressure, and I think a lot of that has to do with the offensive line, just, missing blocks, not protecting him in the pocket, things like that. So it's not all on him, but definitely flashes of a true freshman quarterback in a way.
Josh Heupel has been known for his electric offenses in the past, but this year, the Vols' defense has been leading the way.
All three levels of the defense are just so wanting to make plays. When one guy gets a TFL, another guy gets one right after because they're so hungry to make plays.
For Tennessee to come away with another win in Knoxville on Saturday, it will take an all-around game by the Vols.
It's going to be massive if Tennessee just relies on Dylan Sampson to score touchdowns. That is not going to win them this game. It needs to be a collective effort from both sides of the ball, and that's something that Josh Heupel has preached year after year, that they like to play team ball. They don't like to have one person doing everything. So, yeah, I think that will be huge.
Thank you, Alex. Now with more on tomorrow's third Saturday in October matchup, here's Tide TV's Christopher England, first off the field with Alabama defensive tackle Tim Smith.
I'm Christopher England with Tide TV, joined by defensive lineman Tim Smith. We're here inside the Hank Crifts indoor practice facility. Tim, fresh off the practice field, man, that weather we were just talking about as you walked up is beautiful out there. It's football weather right now. What's it like out there?
Pretty cool, man. Real chilly. Got a breeze out, you know what I'm saying? It get a little more difficult to breathe out there running all around, but for the most part, I love it. I'm a big dude. I don't like sweating unless I have to, unless I'm playing the sport I love, but you know what I'm saying? I love the winter. It gives you a different vibe and a different energy.
Let's talk about practice out there this week. You bounced back, got a win. It was a crazy game against South Carolina. You got a win, though, this past week. So what's practice? What's the vibe like out there this week?
Yeah, right now everybody's just trying to make sure we're honed in. And like I said a million times, understanding exactly what we got to do, making sure we understand everything that we got to do. Everybody trying to play more dominant and physical, whether it's with our teammates, but you know what I'm saying, we're still taking care of each other, but having a sense of urgency about everything that we do.
Every time you step out on the field, everybody's going to bring their best shot against you. They got Alabama circled on the schedule. This week, it's a big rivalry game against Tennessee. This game means a lot to a lot of people. What does this game mean to you?
It's another game, man. That's another opportunity for me to go out and showcase my dominance, you know what I'm saying, and how much I prepare throughout the week and how hard I practice. So, you know what I'm saying, not to take anything away from the rivalry. Everybody knows what it is, but it's one of those things where what's known don't need to be said. So, you know what I'm saying, just practicing and making sure I'm dominant.
Tennessee going into the game, they're second in scoring offense in the SEC, just ahead of Alabama, about a half point per game. They're number 3 in scoring defense, so it's going to be a pretty good matchup there. What can you tell me about, Tennessee?
They have a really good young quarterback at that right side of the line, that guard, center, and tackle. You know what I'm saying? They have some good experience, good young and mobile quarterback as well. So, you know what I'm saying, just making sure we keep him in the pocket, you know what I'm saying? Keep him under control, making sure he feels uncomfortable at all times, no matter what he's doing. This is a new year, a whole new team. We're just trying to focus on how we can go in and be dominant and win this game. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't want to take anything away from the rivalry, but we understand that, yes, it's a big game, but it's the next game as well. So we're trying to go 1-0 and make sure, you know what I'm saying, we do everything in our power to come away with victorious.
Appreciate it, Tim. Good luck this weekend in Roll Tide.
Thank you.
For defensive lineman Tim Smith, I'm Christopher England reporting from the Hillcrest Indoor Practice Facility.
And coming up, Andrew Bone's Recruiting Tales, and WVUA 23's Richard Scott will have our game day forecast. That's straight ahead on Football Friday. And welcome back to Football Friday. I'm Gary Harris. When Nick Saban arrived as head coach at Alabama in 2007, he wanted to tap into his recruiting ties in the state of Louisiana, and one of his first big targets was defensive lineman Luther Davis. Here's On 3's Andrew Bone with this week's Recruiting Tales.
So I remember, Nick Saban went straight into Louisiana. So he started recruiting pretty heavily. Luther Davis was committed to LSU. He was a U.S. Army All-American out of West Monroe, one of the top high school football players in the country. And to be able to go into Louisiana, to pull that off in such a short time period, it really opened up the door for Alabama recruiting in the state of Louisiana. And you look back at all the guys that they signed in Louisiana, throughout the last several years. Well, Luther Davis was really that first big win for Nick Saban, for the Crimson Tide. Being able to flip him away from the Tigers on National Signing Day was huge. It was a huge momentum boost for Alabama. There weren't a lot of big recruiting wins late in the process, in Nick Saban's first 4 weeks in Tuscaloosa. Luther Davis was a contributor. He started as a senior, but did he have the type of impact? Did he become a first-round NFL draft pick? No. But what Nick Saban was able to do is opened up the door for all of these Louisiana kids. It kind of proved that they weren't going to be scared of LSU, that was going to be LSU is this hotbed for talent. Nick Saban knew that. I feel like over the course of the last, once Nick Saban and Alabama really started hitting the state of Louisiana hard, you started seeing everybody else really hit Louisiana a lot harder, all over the country. And now you look at it, Louisiana is probably one of the top 5 states in the country as far as producing talent. And Nick Saban and his staff did just such a tremendous job recruiting that state, all the way up until he retired.
One of many Nick Saban recruiting victories in Louisiana. One other big Saturday is on tap in college football. J.D. Zaza takes us around the SEC.
The eyes of the college football world will be on the SEC this week, as Saturday's slate is highlighted by the third Saturday in October rivalry and a top 5 matchup between the Georgia Bulldogs and the top-ranked Texas Longhorns. This will be the first time since 2006 that the Longhorns have hosted a top 5 matchup in Austin.
It has been a long road for Texas to get back to the top, but head coach Steve Sarkisian has finally been able to do it. Since arriving in 2021, the former Alabama offensive coordinator has built Texas back into a powerhouse. Last season, Texas won their first Big 12 championship since 2009 and got invited to their first college football playoff. This season, the Longhorns look to claim their first national championship since 2005. When asked about the challenges of facing Texas, Georgia head coach Kirby Smart states that this team reminds him of some of the best Georgia teams.
They're the complete package on defense. They're really consistent. There's not they don't give up explosives. They're really good in the red area. They hard to run the ball on. I mean, the consistency you watch them play with, it reminds me of some of our better teams here, our best teams here. I'm like, man, they're good on D, they're good on O, they're good on special teams, and they're playing at a high level.
Now we head to Fayetteville, Arkansas, as the Razorbacks battle the LSU Tigers for the Golden Boot. Since falling to USC in Week 1, the Bayou Bengals have won 5 straight games, including beating number 9 Ole Miss 29-26 in overtime. This turnaround has been led by junior quarterback Garrett Nussmeier. Since taking over for reigning Heisman Trophy winner Jaden Daniels, Nussmeier has kept the LSU offense rolling. He has thrown for nearly 2,000 yards and 18 touchdowns. With the Tigers having receivers like Kyron Lacey and Alabama transfer Aaron Anderson, the LSU offense will give the SEC some trouble. A new era is beginning for Florida football as freshman quarterback DJ Lagway is officially taking over starting duties. Last Saturday, senior quarterback Graham Mertz suffered a season-ending ACL injury. Lagway nearly pulled off the top 10 upset against Tennessee, but the Volunteers survived in overtime. Coming out of high school, Lagway was the #1 quarterback in last year's signing class. This season, he has played in every game and has thrown for 765 yards, rushed for 50 yards, and thrown for 5 touchdowns compared to 4 interceptions. When asked about the situation Lagway is entering, head coach Billy Napier says he believes Lagway will be more than prepared this Saturday.
We'll be a little bit further along because of that investment, and I do think that he will benefit from taking all the first team reps the entire week. DJ has this innate ability to kind of rise to the occasion and step up in big moments, and I'm confident that he'll do that in this situation.
Lagway's first start will be on homecoming night as the Florida Gators welcome Kentucky into the Swamp. As of Thursday night, Kentucky is a 1.5-point favorite, but a quarterback change might be the spark Florida needs to get the win. That'll do it for Around the SEC. For Football Friday, I'm JD Zaza.
And now let's check in with my pal Richard Scott for the game day forecast.
Hey, Gary, those local high school football games wrap it up. Quite chilly across the region as temperatures do drop off quickly after sunset. Hey, but the weekend across West Alabama, good-looking weather, lots of sun, 75 on Saturday, 78 on Sunday. The humidity going to be very low, light northeast wind, and again, no chance for rain at all this weekend. Let's talk college football weather. First off, the Bama game, Alabama taking on Tennessee over in Knoxville, an away game for the Crimson Tide. That is a 2:30 kickoff. Look for temperatures in the upper 60s with full sun. Fourth quarter at around 71. And for the Auburn game, Auburn taking on Missouri and Columbia at 11 a.m. kickoff, 61. And by the fourth, looking at low 70s. Again, a sunny sky for that game. And Mississippi State taking on Texas A&M over in Starkville. That is a 3:15 kickoff. We've got low 70s with lots of sun. Fourth quarter in the low 60s with plenty of sunshine expected. Again, by the time we get into that fourth quarter. That's a look at your local forecast update and also some of those local games as well.
Thank you, Richard. That forecast looks terrific for a big football weekend. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Football Friday. I want to thank all of our great sponsors. And a reminder that you can find the show at WVUA23.com. We'll have it posted here shortly. And a big weekend of football coming up. We'll have coverage on WVUA 23 News at 10 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday night. For everybody here at WVUA 23 and Football Friday, enjoy your football weekend, everybody. Good night.